Hi everyone, good morning. Today is 28th of November and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So friends, in the today's video, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper. We'll take all the articles, we'll simplify them and we'll see the relevance of articles along with the background and the detailed way forward. Now, let's start with the discussion. This is the front page of the Hindu newspaper and we'll be taking up the articles from here. But before that, I would like to tell you that if you are new here, you can download the explainer PDF. In this explainer PDF, we have simplified and had given the notes of all the important articles that had come into today's newspaper, and in the last you will also find the mains practice question. Now before starting up, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper. So here the first article talks about China's anti-lockdown protests spread to dozen of the campuses. So I have told you this particular thing multiple number of times that right now there is the protests that are going on in the China because of the zero COVID policy of China, where the moment there are some cases that come, China goes under the complete lockdown, and because of that the people are now frustrated. So that is something that is going on. Now you don't need to go and follow this particular issue in lot more detail, that how many people are protesting, how many people of them got arrested, what how the China is bringing the crackdown and all such kind of things. G20 presidency is an opportunity to focus on global good. We'll see this article. Then after that, Voca Ligas get January 23 deadline for the raise in the quota. Fine. Egyptian President Sisi to be chief guest at the Republic Day celebration. Okay, so guys, here we see that who have been the Republic Day guest over the years in this particular election. 2016, French President Francis Hollande, then the UAE Crown Prince. Okay, so in this particular direction, in 2023, the guest will be the Egyptian President Abdel Fattah El Sisi. Now, this is something that is going to be there. Then further moving on, the regional page, the regional politics, etc. elections are being discussed. No need to go too much into the detail. Much substance have not been given in the articles. The regional politics, etc. are just have been mentioned. So directly we'll be reaching to the editorial page. The first article, imaginative past, the uncertain future of the historians. Okay. Now guys, the article is not containing much of a substance with respect to the examination. So no need to go too much into the detail. Xi Congress rhetoric power, the PLA's march ahead. We'll see this particular thing, that what the PLA is and the Xi Jinping and the recent the National Congress that had happened into the China, what they are now focusing upon. Then the shifts unexplained. Now this particular article is talking about the collegium system. Recently the collegium system has been criticized. Then after that, a new era, Anwar Ibrahimi will have to deliver his progressive agenda in the Malaysia. Now guys, the article is the about the internal politics in the Malaysia, not very much important for the examination. Then further moving in it, it's time to discuss the depopulation. We'll see this particular article with respect to the exam. The royal challenge for BJP in Tripura, political article not important. Lopsidedness is the exception and not the rule. Okay, so basically guys, the article is talking about the performance, FIFA performance, football performances. Okay, and in that particular direction guys, the article is not that much important. It is just giving the scorecard, score tally has been given. Then towards legalizing the same-sex marriage. Okay, so we'll see this particular article as what it is talking about with respect to the exam. What is the PDA scam that has led to the Supreme Court listing the controversy? Now guys, this particular article is talking about recently there is the Nagrik Apurti Nigam, which is the nodal agency for the Chhattisgarh PDS. Now it has been charged that there have been the corruptions, there have been the irregularities in that, and in that particular thing the entire story is being provided, that okay, who was involved, what happened, then ED interfered, okay, and all that particular thing, who are the people who are involved in that particular scam, such kind of a thing is being provided. Academic substance is not there in this particular article. The controversy, that how in the Chhattisgarh the political issue is going on, all these things are there. Okay, moving on. After that, the text and the context page, what is the blue bugging? Now we'll see this blue bugging. Okay, so this is an important article, we'll take it up. Then Punjab government staff AG over the pension schemes restoration. So political articles etc have been given. No need to go in these particular articles, so directly we'll be skipping it. Okay guys, always keep in your mind the syllabus for the exam, because only you need to see the articles which have some substance which can be used for the examination. Okay, then further moving on, invitation from India as a G20 guest shows growing importance of Bangladesh's economy. We'll take this particular article. Nagaland group to raise its bifurcation bid with the Amit Shah. Fine. Then we have the money wise page. So guys, on the Monday business page result comes. Fine. The money wise page is there, which contains the investing and all such kind of related informations. Now the article is not important with the examination. Then coming to the world page, misleading blatant lies, Pakistan army denied claims about the Bajwa. Did not attend Indian Ocean meet held by China, says Australia Maldives official. Okay, so evolutionary details have been there. Then there are the sports page. Okay, so this is guys the overview of the entire newspaper, and now let's discuss all these articles one by one in the detail. Now, before starting up guys, we take the GS quotation in every class, and this GS quotation can be used to complement in your answers, your GS answers. So today we'll take the quotation, and the quotation that we are going to take today is from the Desmond Tutu. Desmond Tutu. Desmond Tutu says, do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world. Okay, so don't think that how much impact you can bring. Don't think that whether your impact, whether your contributions are going to be big or not. Whatever you can do, do that. And when everybody will do that, these small bits and pieces will overwhelm the world. They will be substantial enough to bring the visible impact. So don't think what you can contribute, just contribute. So this is the idea given by the Desmond Tutu. We can use this particular quotation with respect to the GS paper number 1, social issues. We can use this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 4, ethics, integrity and aptitude. Okay, now let's start with the first article. Okay, so guys, we are a little bit late today because as I told you that I've been to out of station, so in the morning only I have come back. So today therefore we are a little bit late, and then I had the class. Okay, now starting up. So the first article is towards legalizing the same-sex marriages. Okay. Now, by the way, this similar article we have discussed on the Saturday also in the newspaper analysis discussion, because a petition has been filed in the Supreme Court with respect to the legalizing the same-sex marriages. In the same direction, the article again has come. Okay, so we'll be discussing all these particular issues, and this particular article will be important with respect to the GS paper number 1, social issues, GS paper number 1, social issues, as well as in the GS paper number 2, social justice, the vulnerable sections, and in the vulnerable section, the vulnerable sections, the homosexual people, the discriminations that are happening against them. Under that particular topic, we'll see this particular article. Now, before going in this particular article, guys, little bit of a background will revise. Okay, so I have told you earlier also this particular thing, that when we talk about the homosexuality, homosexuality was believed to be an unethical practice, and it was later believed to be something which should not be allowed. So therefore, homosexuality became criminalized. Homosexuality became an offense, and homosexuality was made as an offense under the section 377, section 377 of the IPC. Now the Britishers in the 1860s provided that if the person will have the same sex preference, same sexual orientation, then that particular thing will be punished. And this particular archaic law had continued even in the independent India. Okay, and the homosexuality was a crime. Now in this particular direction, guys, what had happened? Finally, the Navtej Singh Johar judgment came in 2017. Navtej Singh Johar judgment came in 2017. Okay, and the Navtej Singh Johar judgment in 2018 had decriminalized the homosexuality. Now understand one particular thing. Earlier, the Delhi High Court decriminalized the homosexuality, but the Supreme Court again revived the homosexuality again. So the homosexuality again became an offense, and finally it got scrapped into the Navtej Singh Johar judgment of 2018. Now, why this particular thing happened? Because guys, before that, there was one more judgment that was given by the Supreme Court, that is the Puttaswamy case. In the Puttaswamy case, actually, the Supreme Court provided that under Article number 21, the right to privacy is included. Under Article number 121, the right to privacy is included. And when we talk about the privacy, to have your sexual orientation, which type of sexual orientation a person has, that is a matter of that person's privacy. A male might have the sexual orientation towards another male, fine, personal matter. So Puttaswamy case said that the right to privacy is a fundamental right, and on the basis of the interpretation of the Puttaswamy judgment, in the Navtej Singh Johar case, the Supreme Court finally decriminalized the section 377. Okay, that thing has happened. Now since then the people have asked that now the people who are homosexuals, they should also be given the right to get married. Understand this particular thing, that homosexuality is not a crime, but it doesn't also mean that it is illegal. It is legal. It doesn't also mean that the people can marry if they are in the homosexual relationships. So basically the people have requested that under the provision of the Special Marriage Act, 1954, the homosexual couples need to be allowed to get married. Now, when we talk about, guys, the definition of marriage, the marriage is supposed to be the union between two heterosexual people. Union between two heterosexual people where one will be male and the other will be female. So because of this heterosexual union, the homosexual people are not allowed to get married. And now they have reached to the Supreme Court. And what has happened? Supreme Court bench, which is led by the Chief Justice of India, had issued the notice to the central government, and they have asked the central government that what is your view on this particular thing? Should we allow the homosexuality? So they have admitted the petition. Now, basically, this particular petition is saying, that under the Special Marriage Act, they should be allowed to get married. Now, what is the Special Marriage Act? Special Marriage Act is an act where the people who don't want to marry as per their personal laws, they can marry here. For example, guys, when the interfaith people are, they want to get married, a person from A religion and a person from B religion want to get married. Now, because they are from different religions, they cannot follow their own personal laws, because whose law will prevail then? And as per which religion's customs that particular ritual will happen. So therefore, there is a mechanism of the Special Marriage Act where the marriage can be done. So they want that under this particular act, they should also be allowed. As of now, the Special Marriage Act recognizes the marriage between a male and a female. Heterosexual marriages are only recognized. So therefore, this petition is saying that the Special Marriage Act is ultra vires to the constitution because it is discriminating between the same sex couple and the opposite sex couple. So on the basis of the sex, the discrimination is being carried, and Article 14, Article 15 specifically provides that such discrimination cannot happen. So the Special Marriage Act is discriminatory, it is ultra vires to the constitution of India. Now, the homosexual people, they have said this particular thing, that the LGBT, which includes the homosexual also, they have been denied multiple of their rights at the multiple of the places. According to them, there are around 15 legislations which provides them right of wages, right of gratuity, right of adoption, right of surrogacy. Okay, now these particular rights in practice are actually not available to the LGBT people. Against them, there are sometimes institutional discrimination, sometimes legislative discrimination that is happening. So now the time has come that the LGBT people, including the homosexuals, should be treated in equality at all the places. This is a demand that has been coming. Now, the petitioner had said that the allowing the same-sex marriage is just a sequel. It is just a sequel of the Navtej Singh Johar judgment. Now, what happened in Navtej Singh Johar judgment? Homosexuality was decriminalized, and now as it has been decriminalized as a logical step, now the marriages should be allowed. So it is a sequel which they want. Okay, so it is a sequel of Navtej Singh Johar judgment, and it is also going to be a sequel of the Puttaswamy judgment, where the right to privacy was recognized. Moreover, the petitioners, they are saying that we don't want that you bring some major amendment, major change. They say that simply we are asking that the Special Marriage Act of 1954 should be made as gender neutral. You don't bring this particular expression that the marriage is between the male and female. You drop the word male and female and simply say that the marriage is the union between two people. Now these two people can be heterosexual, these two people can be homosexual. So this is something that the demand is being made. Moreover, guys, there is also one more judgment that is there which is important, that is the Nalsa versus Union of India judgment 2014. Nalsa versus Union of India judgment 2014. And in this particular judgment, it has been provided that non-binary individuals were protected under the constitution. Now, when we talk about the binary, so the sexual binary is male and female. So we have the society divided in two parts. One is male and one is female. We call it as binary. But non-binary, which don't specifically fall under this particular category, the transgender people, find the homosexual people. Okay, so they should be protected under the constitution. There should not be any discrimination. They should be given right to equality, right against non-discrimination, life, freedom. Okay, so therefore now this Analsa judgment is also getting violated when they are not given the right to married. Okay, now as I have said you, okay, that the Supreme Court has asked the center's response. So what as till now the center has provided? Center has provided that the institution of marriage, okay, between two people of same gender is neither recognized nor accepted in any personal law. It's not recognized under the statutory law. Moreover, actually 2 years back in 2020, there was a petition that was filed in Delhi High Court also. And in Delhi High Court also, the center said that the society is yet not ready to accept the same-sex marriages, and such kind of a thing will go against the social fabric of the India. Moreover, The government also said this thing, that the homosexual people are the minuscule minority. They are a very small minority. So for that, we might not be able to bring the law right now. Now, when we talk about the homosexuality and the other countries, what is the status in the other countries? So 32 countries in total, they have legalized the same-sex marriages. India has not legalized. Now, they have done that particular thing either by the legislations or by the judicial pronouncements in their own country. Now, the countries, first what they have done, first they have recognized the same-sex civil unions. First they have recognized the same-sex civil unions, and after the civil unions they have recognized the homosexual marriages. Now what do we mean by this same-sex civil unions? So guys, basically the same-sex civil union is one where the two people are living together but they are not married. For example, in India we have the live-in relationship. In India we have the live-in relationships. Other countries obviously also they are there. In live-in relationships, there are the two people who are living together. They are involved into the physical sexual relation but are not married. In India, the live-in relationships has actually already been recognized. For example, in the S. Khushbu case, in the Indra Sharma case, the live-in relationships have been recognized. But live-in relation between the heterosexual people have been recognized. What about homosexual people? Up till now, no such ruling has come. So the other countries, first of all, they recognize the same-sex civil unions, same-sex live-in relationships, and after recognizing, they then moved towards the homosexual marriages. Okay, so I had given you a definition also, one line. What are the civil unions or the partnerships? Are similar arrangement as marriage which provides legal recognition of unmarried couples of the same or the opposite sex. So like the marriage, there are the rights, but people are not technically married. They are not technically married. So for example, when we talk about live-in relationships in India, the live-in partners, okay, the particularly the women, they have right to claim maintenance. They have right to claim maintenance. Moreover, guys, the children who are born out of the live-in relationships, they can also claim the rights over the acquired property of the parent. So in the live-in relationships, there are the rights. In other countries, they first recognize the civil unions, and from there they moved to the homosexual marriages. The Netherlands was actually the first country in 2001 which legalized the same-sex marriages by amending its civil marriage law. Is it clear or not? So this is something that has happened in this particular direction. Now, this is all guys about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Shifts unexplained. Okay, now this particular article will see with respect to the issues related to the judiciary, GS paper number 2. Okay, there's one question, sir, I want to ask what is the time of the live class. So guys, the time of the live class is around 6:30 a.m. in the morning. However, sometimes it might shift some 10-15 minutes here and there also, depending on to the newspaper articles that are coming. So some days there are more newspaper articles, so it might take more time to make the notes, to do the research work and all such kind of a thing. But we aim to start the class at 6:30 a.m. in the morning. So right now this is the timing that we are following. Okay, now shifts unexplained. This particular article is important with respect to GS paper number 2, issues related to the judiciary. Now, before going in this particular article, I would like to tell you a little bit of a background first. So basically, guys, when we talk about the judiciary in India, the appointments to the higher judiciary, that is the High Court and the Supreme Court, as well as the transfer of the judges, of the High Court, it is done by the collegium system. Now, when we talk about the collegium system, guys, for appointment of the Supreme Court judges, there will be the collegium in which the Chief Justice of India will be there, plus 4 senior most judges of the Supreme Court will be there. And then secondly, for the appointment of the High Court judges, there will be the CGI and the 2 senior most Supreme Court judges will be there. Okay, so these two collegiums will be deciding the matters with respect to the appointment of the Supreme Court and High Court judges. From the past so many years, there actually have been the allegations that have been made that the collegium system that is there, in the collegium system, the Supreme Court judges are the ones who are taking the decision. And this collegium system brings nepotism, it brings a favoritism, it brings a kind of a preferential treatment. Often in the past, it has been said that in India, there is a phenomena of the uncle judges, where the judges in the Supreme Court, they are selecting their relatives into the High Court and the Supreme Court. And in the past, there are the allegations that we need to remove this collegium system. And actually guys, what happened, the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act even introduced the National Judicial Appointment Commission. National Judicial Appointment Commission high was a body which had the representatives from the government as well as the judiciary, which was said that it will appoint the Supreme Court judges, it will appoint the High Court judges, and will also suggest the transfer of the judges. But actually, what happened? The National Judicial Appointment Commission was struck by the Supreme Court. It was struck by the Supreme Court. Okay. Now again, it has been said that we need to reconsider the collegium system. Why now again the demands are being made? Because in the past there are the transfer of some of the high court judges that have happened, and in these transfer of the high court judges, they are the bar council and the advocates and many other people, they said that these transfers are not completely fair. These transfer have happened because there was some kind of a inclination of, say, there was some kind of a purpose which was there was some kind of hidden purpose that was there. Now, first of all, I am deliberately not going in this particular controversy. You don't need to take any names, you don't need to pick any person, because then that kind of a thing will not be needed for the examination. So therefore they are saying that this entire collegium system for judicial appointment, this entire collegium system for the transfer, it is being criticized. It is not transparent, it is a closed door affair. Okay, this is something that is happening. Moreover, if you are following the newspaper analysis regularly, you might be knowing this thing. A collegium system was also into the news because now the Supreme Court has taken the petition, and Supreme Court is saying that we will listen the arguments against the collegium system. Okay, they have taken that particular petition. So because of that particular thing also, the collegium system is now into the news. So recently there are the round of transfers. Some of the judges have been transferred, okay, from the Telangana High Court, fine, and all such kind of a thing. No need to go too much into that. Now the article that is talking about is that when we talk about the transfer of the judges, transfer of judges in the High Court is important. Why? Number one, so that there can be the exchange of talent. Exchange of talent. So some judges, let's say a judge served into the Delhi High Court, that judge should be served, that judge will be sent to the Gujarat High Court, judge will be sent to the Bombay High Court. So the talents exchange throughout the country can happen, number one. Number two, it has been provided that to prevent the emergence of the local circle also it is done. To prevent the emergence of the local circle. Sometimes there can be the judges who might become locally dominant. To break that particular dominance, it is also done. Okay, and it has been provided that whenever you talk about the power of transfer, it has always been seen a threat to judicial independence, because many number of times the transfer can also be done because a judge has taken certain decisions which were not liked by the government. As a punishment also, that particular thing can be done. So this is something that has happened. Now when we talk about the transfer of judges and the selection of judges, for that we have a document by the name of the Memorandum of Procedure. And Memorandum of Procedure provides that a judge's consent is not necessary. If let's say a judge from Gujarat High Court is being transferred to the Bombay High Court or is being transferred to the Delhi High Court, that judge's consent is not necessary. Okay. Okay, that is something that has been there. The current norm is that transfer ought to be in public interest and for the better administration of justice. Only this principle is important. Okay, that transfer should bring the better justice. This is something that has been there. However, again, often and often this particular thing becomes controversial, and now this controversy is going on. So in this particular process, what can be done as a way forward? Judiciary itself needs to instill certain reforms in the collegium system. Supreme Court itself needs to provide often the accountability, the reasons that why the transfers have happened or why a particular judge has been brought. So when we talk about bringing the fairness, transparency in the judiciary, it is of paramount importance, which should start. Now, in the guys article, I had given you the evolution of collegium system, the things that I have provided you. Fine, in the explanation that I have provided here, also in the notes, you can download the PDF and you can read about that. Okay, now moving to the next article. Is Congress rhetoric power? The PLA's march ahead. Now, what this particular article is talking about, guys? This article is simply talking about that what are the Xi Jinping's priorities right now? How the Xi Jinping is looking forward to make China as a superpower. Fine, these are certain things. Now, this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, international affairs. International affairs. Okay, now. Before going in this particular article, guys, I would like to tell you some of a background information which is important for you to know to understand this particular article in a better way. So recently in the month of October, what has happened? 20th National Congress of the CPC, that is the Communist Party of China, was organized. Now what is this National Congress? So National Congress, it is a high level body meet that happens once in 5 years. That happens once in 5 years. And in this particular high level meet, the Communist Party of China, which is the ruling, which is the major part, political party of the China, it will determine that what are their priorities for the next 5 years. So a kind of a roadmap for the next 5 years, it is laid into the National Congress. Moreover, many high-powered body, for example, Politburo Standing Committee. Is it clear or not? These bodies are also elected into this National Congress. This was the 20th version of the National Congress which has been held. Okay. Now in this National Congress, China very clearly had put forward this particular thing, that China is trying to move towards the status of the superpower nation. Before they turn the before now, by the time their 100-year anniversary of independence will be carried, they are going to achieve that particular status. So this article is talking about the key takeaways which China is now focusing. So first of all, the article is saying that the 20th Party Congress of the CPC, it is pointing towards the China's rise. Fine, its domestic debates, fine, are focusing on using the PLA, that is the People's Liberation Army of China, as a geopolitical actor. Now, first of all, the Xi Jinping has very clearly provided into this National Congress which was held that they want to expedite the military modernization. Now, if you guys know, the Mao Zedong, he said that the power grows out of the barrel of the gun. According to this, it means that the dominance will be because of the muscle power, and they want to therefore modernize their military. Now, that Xi Jinping had said that by the modernization of military, first they will focus on winning the local wars. Now, what are the local wars? Local wars are the wars that the China is, the confrontation that the China is having in the Asia. For example, China is unnecessarily manufacturing the disputes with the India on the LAC, because China often says that India is the contender of the superpower status, and India might be contending against the China. So China wants to dominate the regional countries who might challenge in China. So China wants to win the local wars. For that particular thing, China wants to modernize the military. Then the China said that this thing will also focus on total reunification of China. Now, what do you understand by the total reunification of China, guys? By this thing, China is pointing towards multiple things. Number one, the China is focusing on Taiwan. When we talk about the Taiwan, guys, right now the China maintains the one China principle, and as per that one China principle, China says Taiwan is not an independent country. Rather the Taiwan is the part of the mainland China only, and that Taiwan will be reunited by the China one day. This is one. Secondly, guys, China also claims many of the territories as its own, particularly in the South China Sea. China says that entire South China Sea comes into the China's exclusive economic zone. China claims the Arunachal Pradesh region, the part of the Arunachal Pradesh. China claims the part around the LAC, okay, in the Fingers region. Fine, the China claims a part. So China is indicating that the reunification of China will be done. This is something which the China is indirectly hinting. Then the China is focusing the China is also bringing a change at the CMC's structure. What is CMC? CMC is a Central Military Commission. Central Military Commission is the body that oversees the military of the China. So the CPC, it has been restructured, fine, so that it can better take over the emerging challenges. Now the reports have emerged that the China is also engaging the Air Force pilots from the Western nations. Okay, so the European pilots, fine, and American pilots, China is engaging them. Now China is paying them a lot of money so that they can teach the China the strategies, they can teach the China the strategies and all such kind of a critical skills. Okay, so they are hiring the Western pilots and offering them huge money so that they can understand the foreign defense system, and the Chinese can fine tune them. Moreover, China's military overhaul is also connected to the ambition to elbow out the USA. Now, China sees that right now the USA is the dominant power in the world. So China wants to corner the USA, and for that particular thing, such a kind of a thing is done. China, moreover, also focusing on to the unconventional arenas of conflict. For example, China is trying to attain the dominance in airspace, cyberspace, all such kind of a things are there. Then the next thing that comes here is that basically China is also trying to broaden the ties with the archipelago nations in the southern Pacific Ocean. Solomon Islands, for example, Solomon Islands, and into the southern Pacific Ocean, other small island nation countries. They are trying to increase their ties. Why? So that their territories can be used as the naval base. Their territories can be used as a military base. Okay, so they are increasing the ties with them also. Moreover, right now, if you see that entire Europe and USA is busy into the Ukraine war, and right now the China is making ties with the island nations. China is pushing forward the Belt and Road Initiative. So this is something that the China is doing. Now, there are certain implications for India also, as the China is flexing its muscles. So what for India, what implications are there? First of all, as China has rolled out the military reforms, okay, right now we find this particular thing that China is also increasing its aggression into the nearby regions. First of all, China is deliberately manufacturing the disputes, deliberately manufacturing the disputes into the LAC. In the Arunachal Pradesh sector also, it is deliberately manufacturing the disputes. Okay, in the South China Sea, find recently what has happened. It declared the air defense identification zone over the East China Sea. Then the South China Sea, the islands are being reclaimed. So what is happening? China is becoming more aggressive. China is becoming more outspoken. China is actually following the wolf warrior diplomacy. And in the pursuance of the wolf warrior diplomacy, China is becoming more outspoken, the China is becoming more crude in the foreign policy. And by that particular thing, India might also be brought under implications because of this China's rhetoric. So this is something that has come in this particular direction. I hope guys that you have understood it. Now we'll move to the next article. It's time to discuss depopulation. It's time to discuss depopulation. Now guys, this particular article is talking about that, see, right now when we talk about the world, entire world is seeing the increasing population. Recently, if you know, the world has also touched the 8 billion population mark. And by that particular thing, there are now, we are not focusing on one thing, depopulation. Though global population is increasing, but certain parts into the world are seeing the falling population. So the depopulation is going to be discussed here in this particular article. Now this particular article we'll see with respect to the GS paper number 1. GS paper number 1. If you have ever seen the GS paper number 1 syllabus, in the GS paper number 1 we have the population and related issues. Population and related issues. So there this particular article will be important. Okay, now let's take the article. So recently the world has reached the 8 billion population mark. 8 billion population mark, and there is one particular thing that was again and again emphasized, that is the India's contribution in the 8 billion population mark. It has been said that India has significantly contributed to the world population, and India is also going to be the world's most populous nation by 2023. So by the next year we will surpass the China as the most populous nation. Who says that? United Nations World Population Prospect Report says this thing. Okay, fine. Now, right now, if we see, India's population will decline only by 2063. It means that till 2063 our population will go up, and by 2063 only our population will decline. So for nearly 40 years, India's population will continuously increase. Moreover, world population will actually increase by 2086. So everywhere the population increase is being focused. But at the same time, there are many other countries. For example, there is Japan, there is South Korea, there is Europe, which are facing the falling fertility, and they are facing that their population will decline in the times to come. There is a reversal that is coming. So there is a depopulation which many countries are facing. What is depopulation? Where the population will go into the negative. The negative decline in the population will be there. Now, when we talk about India, okay, understand this particular thing. In India also the depopulation is becoming a concern. First of all, fertility in India is falling along the expected line. Now understand this particular thing, guys. In India, right now the total fertility rate is 2.0. Total fertility rate is 2.0. Who gives this particular data? This data is given as per the National Family Health Survey 5. National Family Health Survey 5, the total fertility rate is 2.0. It means that it means a hypothetical woman in her reproductive age will give 2 births. Now, as per the United Nations Population Division, replacement rate stands at 2.1. What is 2.1? According to the United Nations Population Division, if there are the 2.1 TFR, if TFR is 2.1, then the population will stabilize. If it is more than 2.1, population will increase. If it is less than 2.1, the population will decline. Now, what is India's TFR? 2.0, less than 2.1. So it means that India's population will decline. Okay, that is something that is going to happen. Now the article is talking about this particular thing, that today our fertility rate is below the replacement rate. You can see, yes, total fertility rate kitna hai? 2.0. Replacement rate kitna hai? 2.1. So TFR is below the replacement rate. Okay, but at the same time you need to understand this particular thing, that we need to understand this particular thing, that as our total population is declining, we are not focusing on the depopulation that might become an issue in the years to come. Now you see this particular thing, that UK, for example, UK is having the serious discussions that what a future will be when aging population will increase, when the workforce will decline. This challenge India will also face in certain regions. For example, the article is saying that the Tamil Nadu and Kerala will see the absolute decline in their working age population in their histories. So for the first time, working age population will decline. Okay, now understand this particular thing. Mortality is also falling. More people are living. Working age population will decrease, but at the same time, mortality is also going down. Means people are becoming more old. People are living longer lives. It means that working population will go down. Aging population will increase. So therefore, that working population will be the economic productive population, and this economic productive population has to support a larger aging population. This is a challenge that the South India is facing. Moreover, understand this thing: female elderly. Okay, there in the old elderliness also there is a feminization of elderliness that is happening. When we talk about the old people, in the old people, more old are the women, and these women often they have economic dependence. Okay, so this there is the issue that's coming. So basically, right now India is facing depopulation, and in this depopulation there are certain challenges that India should be focusing upon. Certain questions have been given here. Number one, the skewed sex ratio remains a danger. As the latest round of NFHS showed, families with at least one son are less likely to want more children, and families with just one daughter. So in India, there is a depopulation that will come. Skewed sex ratio is there. Okay, basically the families which have only one son, they will not have more children. But the family which have only one daughter, they will have more and more children, just in expectation to get at least one male child. So there is still the preference towards the male child, and as there is a preference towards the male child, there is a skewed sex ratio that will become a problem in the times to come. Then the next issue that's coming in this particular direction, okay, it's talking about that there is a difference between the northern and the southern states in terms of the basic literacy. Okay, the states in the southern India, they are more literate, particularly technical skills are high into southern India compared to the northern India. So it means that the worker from South India are not are not automatically replaceable. So the southern India people are more educated, they are having more skills, and their population is also going down at the same time. So when their population is going down, we are losing the productive workforce. The northern Indian population is not that technically equipped. That is something we need to focus on. Third, the anti-Muslim tone in the conversation has remained even though fertility between Hindus and Muslims is converging. So as the depopulation is happening, population is going down, fertility rates are going down. That has happened in the Muslims also. And now you guys see this particular thing, that actually only Muslims are not responsible for the fertility rise. Okay, there are the changes that have come, and we are not focusing on that particular thing. We are holding that only one community is responsible for the population rise, but that is an old rhetoric. Now both the religions, they have converged their population. Now moving on in this particular direction. So these are, guys, all the concerns in this particular direction that has come. Now moving on, what is blue bugging and how is it used to hack Bluetooth enabled devices? So this blue bugging has come in the news. So we'll discuss that what is this blue bugging is all about, and we'll see this particular thing with respect to the science and technology. We'll see this particular article with respect to the science and technology. Okay, so basically what do we understand by the blue bugging? Blue bugging is a form of hacking your devices if your device's Bluetooth is enabled. Now, when we talk about the blue bugging, it is the hacking by using your Bluetooth connections. So basically, when a device is blue bugged, it means that the person who had hacked, they can listen to the calls, they can read the messages, they can send the messages, They can steal and modify the contacts of that particular person. So by the blue bugging, a substantial control a person gets over other person's mobile by exploiting their Bluetooth connections. Now, when we talk about the blue bugging as a practice started as a threat for the laptops which had the Bluetooth capability, but now it has reached to the mobile phones also. Now, basically, it has been provided that the blue bugging, it is a threat since 2004, and the basically the blue bug hackers, what they have done, they have exploited a loophole into the Bluetooth protocol. So when the Bluetooth connections are there, Bluetooth protocols are there, that particular there is bug which have been exploited by them. It has been provided that in order to exploit the blue bugging, find the device's Bluetooth must be in the discoverable mode, and they then hack that particular device. Now it is provided that Bluetooth in if the Bluetooth is enabled and if the Bluetooth is compromised, then within a 10-meter radius the hacker can get the access of the mobile messaging information, calls, and all such kind of things. But now the hackers are becoming more sophisticated, and they can even increase that particular coverage by using the booster antennas. Okay, so for a long period of long range also, these particular kind of a hacking can be done. So you should turn off your Bluetooth, you should disconnect the Bluetooth devices when not in use, and these are certain concerns that are needed to be taken care of, right? So this is the entire blue bugging that has come. Now this is, guys, about it. However, you don't need to go too much into the technical details, because in the UPSC examination, the questions which are there, they are going to be broad based questions, so too much of technical details is not that much needed. Now moving to the next article. Invitation from India as a G20 guest shows growing importance of Bangladesh's economy. Now, guys, the article doesn't contain much of a substance. Just it is just a kind of a regular update that had come. Fine. So we'll see this particular thing with respect to the GS paper number 2, issues of IR. So you know this particular thing already. We have discussed that now India has assumed the chair of the G20. We are going to become the G20 president. Fine, and the presidency of India will start in December. And for the 2023, India will be the president of the G20. Now, India India had invited only Bangladesh as the 10 guest countries during the presidency of G20, which will begin on December 1st. So we have invited the 10 guest countries, and out of that, one is Bangladesh. Okay, so only Bangladesh is our neighbor which we have invited. Now, as we have invited the Bangladesh, it shows the convergence, it shows the deepening relations between the India and Bangladesh. First of all, when we talk about Bangladesh, Bangladesh is one of the world's fastest growing economy and will become the 32nd largest economy by 2030. So Bangladesh is playing a very important role. So therefore, including the Bangladesh into such important platform is becomes important. Bangladesh would like to share the experience onto the matters of climate change, how they have focused onto the economic growth, and these are certain important lessons that Bangladesh which could be learned from the Bangladesh. Now, right now, India and Bangladesh, apart from the G20, are cooperating at other projects also. Particularly on the energy projects also, India and Bangladesh are cooperating. On trade relations, we are cooperating. On people to people diplomatic relations, we are cooperating. So in the article, the Ropur nuclear power plant has been mentioned. Now the Ropur power plant is in the Bangladesh, and it is being set out with the help of the Russian technology and funding. India is also providing the line of credit, LOC, fine, for the transmission lines, for the spread of the electricity transmission lines. India is providing the support. Moreover, India is also providing the support for the renewable energies, solar energies, hydropower with the Bangladesh. So basically, as the Bangladesh's economy is increasing, as the Bangladesh is becoming a major power, so the Bangladesh is being incorporated even in the G20 and all such kind of discussions. Okay, now moving to the next article. G20 is not an opportunity, is an opportunity. G20 is an opportunity to focus on the global good, Modi. So basically, guys, the prime minister has now said that we are going to assume the G20 presidency, and it is a major opportunity for India to utilize the opportunity and to focus on the global good. So this has been said by the prime minister in his broadcast Man Ki Baat. So he had said this particular thing, that it is a huge responsibility. We need to showcase the leadership. We need to show this. We need to show that how India can play an important role in peace, unity, sensitivity, environment, and all these particular kind of things. Is it clear or not? So this is something that has happened. Okay. Now, moving on in this particular direction, guys, just understand one particular thing, that as this G20 is going to be held in the 1 year, now there are so many of the articles, so many of the comments, so many of the things that are going to come. You don't need to follow every single article, because by the time there are hundreds of articles will come into the different newspaper. So only when very good and substantial idea is there, we need to focus on that. Now, basically, here the Prime Minister has also mentioned certain other things also. The PM mentioned that he received a hand woven G20 logo woven by the Yeldi Hari Prasad of Srichilla of the district of Telangana. Fine. So that particular thing, I was very happy to see how connected even a person sitting in the Telangana could be with the G20. That particular example have been given. However, not very much important with respect to the examination. So only major things that are coming, you need to see that. So that is all about that. And now let's take the mains practice question for today. The mains practice question says, as India is taking the G20 presidency, discuss how the New Delhi has the chance to shape the global agenda and advocate for its vision of multilateralism. So this particular article, this particular question, it will be important for the GS paper number 2 and write it for the 10 markers. That's all, guys, about this particular question. And with this, we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. Guys, I hope that you have liked the video, and I hope that you are getting the utility out of this particular discussion. So in the today's newspaper, news are a little bit less, particularly in the editorial pages also, as well as the other places also. So that is all, guys, about it. Now we'll be meeting tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourself. Thank you so much.